Wonderful Nigerians across the globe. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of you, good night, depending on your time zone. I'm George Onyibe, and of course, this morning, continuing from the same series we have been looking into for quite some time now, which is the four orders. And by the grace of God, we have been able to address the order of the merchandise, the order of the slaves, the order of the custodians, and of course, the fourth order, which is the order of the monarchs. We've been able to lay a very comprehensive foundation on what this order represents. And today, let us dive in-depth analysis regarding this very order of monarch. You see, as a society value advocate, there are a lot of activities going on within and outside our community, which we may feel it does not concern us directly. But somewhere along the line, if it does not concern you directly, it will concern you indirectly. And this is when the Bible says, why men sleep. The enemy came, planted grass among the rice. And let's use that term so you understand. So why you neglect your culture, your tradition, your heritage, to you, it really doesn't mean, but let me tell you the truth. That is the only thing that is important in your life. Forget about whether your culture, tradition are demonized or not. Forget about whether it is referred to as awkward, archaic, outdated, and whatever. But believe me, this is who you are. And of course, the people who will demonize you, your heritage, they are the one running about stealing your heritage. They are the one running about claiming you. They are the one fighting very hard to make sure that you don't know who you are. You see, based on this notion, we see the same activities of certain criminal-minded individuals running around in Nigeria. They call themselves Igbo Biafra. And while we sleep, they are there sowing seed of discourse among Nigerians. So while we ignore them, they are there distorting history, rewriting history. While we sleep, by ignoring them, they're trying to bastardize our blood lineage. Believe me, it does not matter how they feel. These Igbo Biafra people, who Nnamdi Kanu is the major contractor to carry out this heinous crime against indigenous people of Nigeria, in a time like this, you know them by their insults. They will soon come here and say, hungry man, you are drying. You know, all that sort of things. But the amazing thing is, honestly, I am better than 90% of those of them mocking me. But of course, it has never been in our character to sell personality. After all, we have nothing to sell. But no matter what they do, they will not deter us from seeing the truth and doing what is necessary. And that is why it is important, imperative, that we begin to point out these things to everybody. You see, when the colonial masters, as they call themselves, invaded Africa, and of course, not just the colonial master, but from civilization to civilization, those who are referred to as the conqueror of the world power, notice, when they meet their rival, what they do is to destroy their history. From the Medians and the Persians, from the Babylonians, and all of them, the Arabians. When they conquer you, they will destroy your history. And the moment your history, which is the embodiment of your culture, your tradition, your value system, is taken from you, you become anything they want you to become. Let me create a foundation for you to appreciate our topic this morning. There is a story that talks about an eagle that was raised along with a chicken. I'm coming. There is an eagle that was trained among the chickens. This eagle has no knowledge of self. This eagle believes he's a chicken, he's a hen. He moves about on the ground and then feed like the hen. And with time, the wings begin to grow. The full figure of an eagle was developed in it. But yet, he does not have the knowledge of who the eagle is. And so all his life, it has been brought up to live like a chicken. But inside he knows something is not right. He can't place it because he has no knowledge of his history, his heritage. He has simply no knowledge. And so he lived for a very long time like a chicken. Until one day, he saw another bird that looks like him, hovering around the cloud above him. And he said, sure, I look like this bird. And if this bird can fly this far, I think I can do it. And so for the first time, the eagle made use of the wings. He flapped it up and down. And behold, he was swimming in the air already. And that was the moment he realized, oh, of the truth, I don't belong here. This is where I truly belong. And so it is applicable to us, Anyoma people, Ikwere people, South people. We were brought up in the midst of these Igbo Biafra people. They recolonize us and almost make us behave like them. But the moment now most of us went close to them, and from that distance we saw who we truly are. It's necessary that we go to where we belong. If we fail to do that, the same way they will kill the chicken one day, one morning, the owner will just wake up and slaughter the hen. That is the same way all of us will be slaughtered while men sleep. And so having worked with these people and we see their intention, they are up to no good. We cannot keep quiet. It is left for our people to listen and then make amends, correct the errors of their way. Or it is left for them to wait until the moment of the inevitability comes upon them. And now coming back to the order of the monarch. Our topic this morning is simple. The order of the monarch is the only authenticated identity of any people. In our last discussion on this order, I tried to enlighten you on the formation of how communities are formed. And the moment these communities are properly formed, the custodian, the merchandise, the order of slaves, everybody gather their information and they hand it over to the monarch. The monarch is the body responsible for dispensing of authority. The monarch is the custodian. The monarch, unlike the democratic state, controls the three arms of government, from the legislature to the judiciary to the executive. It is the monarch. And now our history are all hidden in our pillars. The history of any people is hidden in the pillars of their monarch. And now you begin to wonder why people like the Queen of England are very powerful. You begin to wonder why the Prince of Saudi Arabia are very powerful. You begin to wonder why most monarchs around the world are very powerful. And now to destroy a people, destroy their monarch. The moment you destroy their monarch system, they are gone. Most countries who somewhere along the line, they destroy their monarch system. They rebuild a different form of monarch system, though it is not fully monarchy in nature, but yet it now has to become a tool to improvise in the absence of the monarch. And now, as people in Nigeria, in the absence of your monarch, who are you? Let me explain further. And now, as an Igbo man, we hear things, we perceive things, and we can or do not have explanation to these things. What do we do? Depending on the disposal. In most cases, we go to our father. And believe me, our father has very little knowledge of who we are, because their duty is to defend our land and what we are. But the true custodian, the true history of every people is hidden with the women. But most of you don't know. Maybe as we progress, I will tell you the power of the woman. Our true history is hidden with the women, but let's not digress. And so we go and ask our father, why is this way? And our father will just tell you and then move on. Our mothers will give you in-depth story and then move on. But the moment you go to the palace of your king and demand and say, Your Highness, this issue, Can we know what actually happened? That is when you will understand why we have not been able to flush out after over 70 to 80 years of trying to be Igbo-nized. That is why you will understand. Let me explain a little bit further. I went to visit a monarch somewhere in Igbo-Ukwu. And Igbo-Ukwu, for instance, is supposed to be Igbo people. But something shocked me. When I entered his palace, a very progressive king, I began to see a lot of artifacts which I cannot relate to our people. And then I humbly asked him, sir, are these not supposed to be Yoruba people? Are these people not supposed to be Benin people? And the man said, let me explain to you. They now open one of their store, their archive. Should I call it their museum in that palace? And we took a tour there. He began to show me the head of the first monarch, down to the second monarch, to the third monarch, the Queen Mother, the Omo institution. He began to show me the image, bronze image of these people. And I tell you, none of them look like us. And he began to give us detailed history of how they migrated from Benin. But if the community say this is our king, and then this man say this is where we are coming from, you should understand that they are the authenticated record holder of our identity. It's very difficult to accept. This is not the first palace, this is not the second palace, neither the fifth nor the sixth. And so when I was involved with Igbo Biafra people, they were talking about Igbo unity. There are things we really didn't want to say, but I pleaded with them in a simple term and said, see, there is a lot of things that need to be said that has not been said. There is a lot of things that we should have done that has not been done. I beg you people, you must go through the right channel. If Igbo unification is what you want, this is what we want, but you must go through the right channel. You cannot drag us back and say, yeah, you are Igbo, and we are planning to eat. And by the time we come home, we begin to answer unnecessary questions. I say, my father must have offended your father, or your fathers must have offended my fathers. And now for us to come together, we need to visit our king. Let there be consultation. Let this issue be addressed. And if necessary, restitution and every other take place. And then we can now form a new beginning as a people. But the hopeless, criminal-minded Igbo people say, who don't want to unite, let it not unite. Because they thought their money can do everything. And that is why I am very happy today that as a poor man, living in an uncompleted building, hungry and drying, that is when I'm doing all these things. Because if I were to be very wealthy, moving with escorts and other things, they will say it's Nigerian government that is sponsoring me. They would have dashed out a lot of lies that will have a foundation and at the end, credibility for verification. But here I am, telling them the truth, first-hand information, because we were involved. I told them this is what you do. They lash me out because they don't have sense. Very arrogant set of idiots. Get out there, idiot, who don't want to unite. Let him get out, let him not unite. Because they want to follow the back door. And remember, only a thief follow the back door. And I left them. The next thing, they pumping money as usual. That is where you begin to hear Namen, Igbo Zue, the tribe and other useless Igbo born children in our community. They started the propaganda as usual. But I know they are not going anywhere. Because I know the level we have gone to this issue. And I watch them. That is why they are sponsoring Nedingoko to turn us to Igbo. But I know they are not going anywhere. That is why they're taking Senator Mbata now to become leader for Anes Ndibo. But with our king, they are not going anywhere. Ikwere have Onyangwile. Ikwere have Onyangwile. You are not going anywhere. We have Obi. You are not going anywhere. Not Peter Obi. We have Obi. We have a Obi. That is what we call our monarch. So you are not going anywhere. And so as a people, the history of who you are is in your pillars. And so we have to protect our pillars. We have to protect our monarch. There were a particular period of time in the 90s when we begin to neglect our responsibility as a people in the pillars. Most of our king went bankrupt. Some of them cannot feed. They become vulnerable. Outsiders were using some of them to commit heinous crime in our land. But you will not understand. But I'm glad to announce to you that the government of Nigeria came to their rescue. But I would sincerely tell you that the government did not come for their rescue to rescue them. Because the government understands the role these people play and how they can influence a true or foster true nation unification, development among others. And so the government of the day starts sponsoring them. Go and check all your monarch. All of them are under the state or federal government payroll. The government now takes care of them. Most of them are losing their way already. They care less about the people. They don't even pay attention. Most of them now depend on what they get from the government. Most of them drive the same official car with the governors. But I'm happy for them. And even if most of them have private jets, the point I'm trying to illustrate here is that it is our duty as indigenes to take care of our kings. In the ancient days, before there is an attack on our monarchy system, without our knowledge, it is some group of people that are assigned to make provision for the king's feeding. Another group of age grade are assigned to provide the king with clothing. Another are meant to take responsibility for his medical bill and every other expenses of daily activities of the king was actually managed by the community. But today I bet you most of you don't know this. And so most of our king, some of them are lawyers, some of them are engineers, some of them are carpenter, some of them are farmer, and yet they are your king, and you wanted to protect your integrity. It will take the oath to make them defend you. And now, this is the purpose of this broadcast. The moment they remove your king, they destroy your king, your history will be gone. You will be confused person like Igbo Biafra people. Look at Igbo Biafra people. You may not have a very glorious past, but that does not change that inglorious moment was not you or your father. Accept it and deal with it. Because that will remain the only yardstick through which people can tell the story of where you are coming from and how much you have evolved. If the Indians today, for instance, will shy away from telling the whole world how poor they were, stinkingly poor, how miserable their life were made. There is no glory in their achievement today, but their level of their achievement is compared to the level of their backwardness. Not because they were ever backward, because people placed them there. And so when you talk about the history of the past India, their exploits before the global community, you must not shy away to tell them about how Indians suffer, which gave birth to the order of the daughter of charity. And today, they are back on their feet. And this is the ups and downs of the Indian nation. And so as a people, they say, oh, you are a slave. Oh, no problem. I was a slave, but now I am not a slave. And if, for example, I was a conqueror in the past and now I am a slave, it's okay. We metamorphose. Of course, you already know that change is a constant thing in life. You must be able to know the history, the secret behind your ups and your downs at every given moment. That is the only thing that will ensure that you remain a survivor in the end of the journey. That is why we are doing all these things that we are doing. And so today, the only thing that is keeping our community from being invaded by Igbo people is our king. Because our king is irreplaceable. I'm sure you must have heard about a musician known as Osai More, who sang, Oba no dey go transfer. A Benin musician once said, he or say, Uroro no dey fade, Oba no dey go transfer. He knew what he was trying, or the point he was trying to buttress. But now we are in an era. The Igbo Biafra people don't have king. They even have an adage for it. Na Igbo Nweze. You can now see why they don't even know where they come from. They wake up in the morning and tell you they migrated from Israel. Some of them wake up and say they migrated from Equatorial Guinea. And now they cannot say there are 4 waves or 5 waves. One come from Saudi Arabia, one come from Yoruba, one come from Benin, one come from Egypt, one come from Kenai, and so on and so forth. But who will guide them when all of them are king? A king without a throne. Who will guide them? So when you see this Igbo Biafra moving anyhow like a recalcitrant, do not bother yourself about them. Their problem is that they don't have king. And if you allow them to destroy your king or to compromise your monarchy system, your people will soon begin to sound like them. We have evolved greatly as a people. Eka people have evolved greatly. Anyoma people, Ikure people. But each moment of this evolution, we keep our record intact. When we go back and begin to look at the names of our king, Benoba, Mariri, and then other ancestral names, we could be able to know where we are coming from. And that is why, by way of telling our people, you born Peking where you know give her your village name, I'm sorry for you. Because if we check the current name most of our king are answering, you won't even know who they are. I do not blame them because the Igbo now have claimed our language, this Igbo Biafra. They have claimed it, forgetting that it was Samuel Ajayi Krada that come to pick the language of the indigenous people, like Eka Nyoma people, Osimilindo Kwa people, dialect, and form a language and give to the Equatorial Guinea people and the Israel people who say they come from Israel. Today they are claiming it. But where God catch them, did you hear what I said? Where God catch them, better catching, is that they don't understand us. And they can't speak our dialect, except they are born and raised in my place. But we don't need to go to their place to learn their language. We flew flappantly, easily. That is where God save us. If not, these people will take us to court. You are speaking my language. Your name is my name. Your land is mine. That is where they are going to. But let's come back to the order of the monarch. And so the order of the monarch, like I told you, remain our last defense outpost. I remember there was an era after the era of the colonial masters. All hell was let loose. They descended on 2 monarchs. A way that if you hear about it, you begin to question the integrity of Nigeria. And one of them is the Oba of Benin, and the next one is the Author of Igala. Let me tell you how bad it became. The Author of Igala, for many years, said that if another tribe mount as a governor of Kogi State, they will never get themselves again. Go and check Kogi history. Go and check line of Kogi governor. You will see some of them can't even appear in any function as governor. They will run mad. Some of them died in motor accident. A lot of things happen to them. And that is because the Author of Igala is not somebody you toy with. But the Oba of the Benin, don't forget, Benin people, their own winch, then they fly for daytime, kuru kuru. You call it witch or wizard. You call it diabolical or whatever name. But without this backing, the Oba of Benin is gone. Without this spiritual African backing, Author of Igala is gone. And these people was that if you destroy them, the history of all of you who say South, 99.9% of your history will be missing. And I'm glad that the monarch institution still stand till tomorrow morning. And that is the only place your identity can be authenticated. Do not let them compromise it by ways of coming to create their own king in your community. Watch Igbo people that don't have king. All of a sudden, they are now interested in king. There is Obi of Onitsha. Obi of Onitsha originally is not Igbo man. Watch Igbo people body language. You will not hear Igbo man singing the praise of Obi of Onitsha. You will not hear Obi of Onitsha in the light of any Igbo people. They try to copy that tradition. They try to emulate it. But the greed of these Igbo Biafra people cannot allow them to stabilize. They do not know what it means. It's something they can only imagine. And so what do? They copy the one they can copy. Instead of them to stay at home and find out who they are and become the true custodians of their authentic identity, they are now everywhere in other communities, forming their own king. Even despising your own monarch. And one day you wake up, you say, Ezendibo na labo. What does that make the Obi of Agbo people? What exactly does that make the Denyi of Agbo? Can two captains be in a ship? Can we have Ezendibo na Afari Beku? And yet they don't want us to talk because their majority eating the money that is generated from our place under the guise of oil and gas. And then they fight day and night that they are majority just to feed on the misery of our people. This issue of Wazobia must be reviewed. Or else, I have said it years before now. I say the fight we are going through in Nigeria is fight between three ethnic groups to maintain their dominance on the rest. But believe me, when this compass shifts and the true clause in the wheel of our progress as a nation is initiated, Nigeria will burn to ashes. And from that ashes, a new nation will emerge. What do I mean? This war now, Igbo is trying to fight with Yoruba, Yoruba is trying to fight with Hausa, Hausa is trying to fight with Igbo. Not because of the love of Nigeria, on who is majority, or who should have the lion's share. When the clock turns around, and minorities, suppose, begin to fight you, we shall see how it will go to. But we should pray it don't get there. We should pray. Look at us, minority. Almighty Igbo is bowing on the very social media propaganda which they started. Now they are coming to my boss, please, it's okay, let's change it. But they started it because they thought they have monopoly over it. You have monopoly of majority. Continue majority. Because we are forming our own majority. Because we are going to be majority when the time for majority comes. But we can still build a fair nation where everyone will be satisfied and happy. Because those of you who have king don't know the importance of your king. You wake up one day, somebody will say, yes, Ezendibo, na land yowa. And then what does that make Obi Efezomo? A second-hand king or assistant king or deputy king? What does that make? And then who tells the story of your people? There was a time these Igbo Biafra people came to acquire a very massive land in our kingdom. They bought some sincerely, directly, and used the privilege to begin to acquire all the land around there illegally. And some community boys came, brought bulldozer, took all the land from them. That quarrel lasted for a very long time before it was resolved. But I remember when the Igbo Biafra people were issuing press communique to that effect. If you see the way they were lying blatantly, that they owns that land, that they have been, it's just like when some Fulani are trying to claim our land. It's only Yoruba have not seen claiming land. The few areas in our territory where Yoruba occupy, these Yoruba people self don't even, they have accepted the position they say. I'm talking about the Olukumi people in Asaba Aziz. But let me not digress further. The people who buy land and claim your village, what happens when they have their king? What happens? And today, when the village is called to carry out census so that they know who we are, If you are listening to me, you are from the South. You are from the tribes that understand monarchy system. Do you sure your family still have a name in your village? Because most of you now are Joy Francis, Michael Abraham, Peterson Mafferson, Peterson Zakonis. Most of you are answering different beautiful names. I give it to you. But are you sure when we go to our palace, we will see Peterson Zakonis? We will see Abraham Lincoln? Are you sure we will see your grandfather, that is John the Baptist? For record purposes, so, but you will not understand. Inferiority complex will ruin you. Because as far as our monarchs stand, we are not going anywhere. The monarchy are the ones who preserve our heritage, our value system. Our monarchs are the last line of defense of our people. They are not just ordinary people. We refer them as blue-blooded people. And the Medima will tell you that it is the blood of the gods that runs in their vein. This is because whether you like it or not, whether that king is a pastor or is a demon, all of them get juju. Don't forget, my village pastor, my village king is a pastor in Redeemed Christian Church. But that will not change anything when it comes to the oath. You see? And so African traditionally, they are the custodian of all our juju. Let me begin to mention their name. Ekpentu, Idugun, Apayumode, Akemohon, Osanuwewe. I can begin to call different juju. They are still there. They are still there. But I know you will not understand. Why am I saying all these things? Those foundations of the monarch that were introduced at the formation when your village was born. Those oaths, they go beyond religion. When a president is elected, he takes oath of office. And you think it's verbal, and then try that and see how your generation will be wiped out. You think most leaders of Nigeria who are coming to lie under oath, you think they are going to go scot-free? A day will come, it will assume they never resisted. But most of them are ignorant. This I can assure you. Because the day foundation of anything is laid, certain incantation, certain rituals are performed. And that ritual will determine the end, even before it begins. Your village is not an error. Your village was something that was brought together. And that boils down to telling you one thing. There are some people, when they die anywhere around the world, they will say, take me back to my village. Take me back to my village. It's just like what is going on that is delaying my father's burial. Some of the children said, he said they should bury him in the town. And I'm the first son. I said, no, you will bury my father in his compound, in his village. Yes, he may have property in the town, but that does not mean we are from Obisoba. No, you must take him to his place. And they are lobbying. They are trying to move people, and I'm looking at them. Even though my father wrote a will, that lawyer and all of them, they will go and take oath that that will was not forged. I'm going to do everything. My father will not be buried outside his community. But most of you do not understand. And when you have finished selling your father's property, that land will reject all of you. Because your umbilical, your village don't even know your umbilical. But there are a lot of things you don't know. Because you don't even respect your king. You don't even know your culture and tradition. You think you are Igbo. You are not Igbo. You are not what you are not. And you are who you are. But this your identity. The authenticity behind your identity. It is with your monarch. And I understand it's becoming difficult to have access to them these days. But that does not stop you from doing that. That does not stop you from doing that. I could go on and tell you a lot of stories. I will confuse you in the end. And so I have to stop here to make you understand that if you have a king, this is the time for you to pay attention on your king. Take care of your king. Protect your king. Be close to your king. Maka na onye feze ukwiru eka. Onye feze ukwiru eka. But you will not understand. But you allow all these propagandists, this group of Igbo who say they are Biafra people, to destroy your monarch, and you are helping them. Don't worry. Don't worry. It will dawn on you when you least expect it. And your children will not spare from it. Imagine, who am I today if I'm not Aboman? Who am I today if I'm not Aboman? And who are you today if you are not Ikwerema? And if you are not who you are, who are you? You see, you are nobody. You see that place you come from? You must cherish it. You must embrace your culture and tradition. And you must let the truth prevail. They want to destroy your morality about your people. So that Igbos are wonderful, Igbos are spraying money, Igbos are enjoying. Your people are poor. They just want to destroy your morality and think your people are useless. No, that is why I gave that parable. My people say the food where your mama cook, they spoil for your mouth. I never see Pekin where they normal. A mama cook food, you can't take the food. Mommy, this soup is not sweet. Mommy, you don't know how to cook soup. Every true child understand that mommy soup is the best. Whether it is bitter to other people, that is their business. My dear, where you come from is your place. Your monarch are like your mother. Your father can deny you. And if your father for any reason deny you, please do not argue. Make sure that he's not doing it out of pain, out of hatred, out of anger. Accept it. Because after all, without your mother, he can't lay full claim on you. But you see your mother, she can't deny you. Even when her eyes deny you, her lips can't deny you. That is your village. Alionye Wondwa. Alionye Wondwa. We are not thinking home. Now let's look at it. As a Nyoma person, Ikuri person, Abo person, Bini person. All these years we have been singing, Igbos are wonderful, Igbos are wonderful. When are we going to sing Abo is wonderful? Abo is wonderful. And you tell me you are from Abo. Igbo people from Israel, those Igbo Biafra people will be insulting me and you will join them. Ejino nwane egbu ala nene weji shono akpatu makasa maka nunu enwuche unu amare ne ndo nwele ni nele ne dine ebe ndi nwane na adondon ko nwa ne gonten. My South people, go and protect your monarch. That is the last defense outpost of anybody. This is where I will bring this series to an end. And of course, from tomorrow, we begin to dive into other areas of life as it concerns us as a people. Most of the things that threaten us as South people of Nigeria. The game has started already. They want Nigerians to be struggling on daily basis, which will not be that. We're talking about tax reform bill. You are seeing everybody crying. It's only Yoruba that is not crying. Maybe it's because of Tinubu that is doing it. That is why they are not crying. And if Tinubu can pull the shot, all of us forever will remember him as a man who fulfilled his promise, renewing the hope of minority that we are still part of Nigeria. Because outside this renewed hope, visiting this tax reform bill, removing this subsidy that has eaten us into the future. Because I was not happy about removal of subsidy, but having in-depth knowledge of what subsidy is. We have even been eating the money of petrol we have not drilled. And if these are the hope Tinubu want to renew, believe me, South people, all of us, we are behind President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Those of you who are talking, we will remove him, be talking, let us be seen. Maybe you will be the one that will initiate the problem, where everybody now will begin to fight everybody. What is good for the goose is good for the ganja. You see Igbo Biafra shouting, it is just to check how much they are going to rip off from us because we are minority. And so you divide the money Nigeria is making into some part, and then you share one as a majority, and then you give stipends to whose people under misery all of you feel. But we are one Nigeria, and the task to keep Nigeria one, now our task. And that is not the essence of saying the truth. I'll go to the comment section, and then of course, the Igbo Biafra people are predictable, very pathetic. Let me go there and respond to them, to, normal insults, which I love very well. Okay, let's see there who I have there. I have Cheese or Mass. He say, you are cursed and you will die in poverty, wretchedness. Your suffering just started. Now, look at Chizo. He's Igbo person. The point is, because we do not blow our trumpet, because we do not claim to be mightier than I, these people underrate people. To him, I'm poor, I'm suffering. I'm sure your family, your entire generation, they don't near me. They saying you are cursed. Me and you, who is cursed? And you want to unite with cursed people? Jesus, let me tell you, from your mouth, you just declare the judgment of God upon yourself. And curse you shall be. The very table upon which you feed shall be a snare to you and your entire generation forever. This Igbo Biafra, that is their problem. My concern is leave us. We don't want to unite with you. You are spending money to take over our life. But you have to destroy our monarch. I'm only telling my people, defend your monarch. Because without them, Chizo, your father would have been a king in my village. Is it not amazing? One Igbo man just get opportunity to become governor of Enugu state. The first thing he did was to make his father king. Then because he's a governor, and so when the next governor comes, he make his father king. What a miserable set of people. Igbenedion, as mighty as he is, cannot shake the Oba of Benin. Useless set of people. You die in poverty. You are a poor man. You are cursed. What do you know about wealth? Is it the one you're doing in baby factory? Igbo girls now will have to travel to another people's village, be pregnant and born children, then they will sell children. In this kind of time, Chizo, Igbo people are selling baby. 90% of baby factory in Nigeria is Igbo people. 90% of people pushing drug around is Igbo people. People like Chizo has destroyed the morality of the original Igbo people. Of course, if to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff, we have to descend all of you. We will do that until the real Igbo, we know them. Because Chizo, you are just Igbo Biafra. And you people are cursed. You don't have king in your village. But you are coming to make king in my own village. Coming to produce king for me. Because you are Igbo. Onyoshi. Of course, it's only him. I see Sowere. I greet you. Good morning from here. And I love Igbo people when they curse. I see Douglas. What did Douglas say? He say, empty your ancestors and ashamed of you because you fail just as you fail. Well, I do not know where that one is going to, but let's leave it at that. Igbo Biafra, get sense. Because this one you enter, you no go like the reception. We'll never even start. And for those of you from South, go back to your monarch institution and rebuild it. Somewhere along the line. That is the place they are going to find out who you are. And those of you who are at the fond of naming your children after Igbo Biafra, I think you don't see them. You must name them according to your place. Because somewhere along the line, some of you will go and look for where you come from. Because when you come to the village now, they say, who is your father? And I say, your father is Nnamdi. You are in trouble. Because we will bundle you and take you to Afari Beku. Because we don't answer Nnamdi. You get the point now? Defend your monarch. No other Igbo person that is insulting, only Chizo, who is going to suffer miserably. But let's think about it. I don't even know how these people reason. Is it because you have the mind to smuggle drug into the anus of your brother and deceive him to come and visit you in Europe? And when he succeeds, you are now a millionaire. And when he died for nothing. Or Chizo, you are not aware that almost 80% of all the house in the East, the owners are in jail? Is that what you call wealth? There is one man jumping up and down. He wants to be president of Nigeria. Go and find out what killed his father. Now, no get sense. Where we go open mouth, tell on our body go come down. Disgrace. Everybody is disassociating from Igbo people now because of people like Douglas. Everybody is running from Igbo people. Igbo used to be appreciated. Igbo used to be loved. Igbo used to be unique in their ways. Ojukwu started this criminality, sustained by Raphael Wazurike, and destroyed completely by Nnamdi, and then legitimate by Simon Ekpa. All the same set of dirty, stinking, useless criminals. And now, after they have shit on the road, they are looking for who to unite with. They are looking for who to take the fall. Did you see Aloy Jimako visit later? He sent on Twitter. So you know how miserable these people are. Aloy Jimako said he went to visit Nnamdi. That Nnamdi have told him that he should file a legal action against anybody that will say that 1966 coup was Igbo coup. And I'm happy the comments he received by fellow Igbo people. You cannot defend Nnamdi. You are telling them Nnamdi. Say Nnamdi is which name I go call him? But the 1966 coup is Igbo coup. Forget about how they deceive other tribes to follow them. That is how they deceive me to follow them. And the ones who discovered the truth, the Yoruba man, was he not executed by Ojukwu? Because he saw Ojukwu was a criminal. Ifa Jonah, was he not executed by Ojukwu? Because they saw Ojukwu was a criminal. Chukwuma Nzogo, when he discovered that this is wrong, Ojukwu cannot kill him because he's a Jagaban himself. Nnamdi Kanu can't kill me because I know what he knows. But the difference between me and Chukwuma Nzogo, because Chukwuma have to kill himself. You see, I'm not killing myself. I'm going to outlive all of you. You people don't have shame. And then the next one, Nnamdi Kanu wife tweet, snapping picture with his son, and then Nnamdi Kanu. The beautiful, we have to migrate, we have to be loving, we have to be... But he's showing us the family picture. He didn't include Nnamdi Kanu children born along the road. Those ones, maybe they have joined unknown gunmen. And I responded in that tweet. I say, how I wish you will remember those who you people have murdered, fellow Igbo, in the name of Biafra. And you people are hiding in London. And you see one stinking, useless, dirty Douglas. Oh, you are curse, you are poverty, you are papa. I know, I'm mercy for you. Very soon you will understand that there are a lot of things that makes money insufficient. Of course, money is a defense. Money answers all things. But we use money. Money don't use us. Useless thinking criminals everywhere. On this note, I'll bring the broadcast to an end. I encourage you fellow Igbo Biafra, useless Igbo Biafra people who say they come from Israel, please drop your insult. You don't have king. It's obvious why you are behaving like idiot everywhere. Because if you have a king, they should have traced where your miserable parents are coming from. And you people would have been ostracized. You know, Sikuri people, because they have Onyanwile. They have their king. They have told them, Bata, go to Enugu and start Ohaneze Ndi Borin. You see this Seneca, you go nowhere. That is how to know people who have king in the Oshi. You think you have a real monarch in Enugu, that rubbish, shenanigan of criminality, you will do that? You will do that? You know how much they persuaded Okowa to be part of Ohaneze Ndigbo? Do you know that that very night they announced Ikureman to be Ohaneze Ndigbo? That if you go back to the search engine, that they audited their biography and they removed the Anyoma man that was the first leader and placed the Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe? Shame. Curse people telling somebody curse. We'll continue from there later. And of course, I'm done with the series of the 4 orders. From tomorrow, by the grace of God, we'll come back on the normal woto. Drop your insult. I'm going to use the do broadcast for now. Ndi Oshi.